listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 23 Personnel Podcast. I am your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
It had to happen eventually, I guess. I guess Texas Tech had to fall at some point.
Didn't have to.
It didn't have to. I guess I shouldn't word it that way. I'm coming at you on a delay. The reason we're delayed is because of me. We had bought tickets to see my neighbor perform in the local community theater version of Sleepy Hollow. So that was a lot of fun, but the show is at 7:30, so I got to see Texas Tech lose by 4 and then immediately get in a car and drive over to see a play and try to be happy. So fun. That was fun. The play actually worked. The play did its job. And I'm not going to say I'm happy, but I am removed from the loss from almost 3 hours ago at this point. And we lost Spencer already, so we're off to a roaring start. I'm not really sure what's going on over there, but he's gone. So if there's anybody watching live, I'm just going to rattle for a while. I'm sure we'll get into it this evening, but I think the main things I would like to discuss are the offense and or lack thereof, the running or the rushing offense. It's not like Arizona State's bad at rushing defense, coming in, allowing only 111 rushing yards per game. They pretty much held that exact average. So I'd like to learn more about how Texas Tech was not able to rush more than 109 and just completely abandoned it despite having decent success, at least number-wise. I'll be the first to say that my day was completely bizarre and all over the place. So the only thing I was able to sit and watch was the first quarter and the fourth quarter. I did listen to the second and third best I could while at a soccer game. And it didn't sound great. But that's where we're coming at you from. And hang on. Yeah. Spencer's restarting his computer or something. I don't know. But anyway, how's everyone else? Let me see. Is there anybody in here? Anybody chiming in? Am I missing it? You guys are probably over this game too, being 3 hours removed, just like us. But right now, all of our hope pins on BYU. Is that where we're at? As I'm talking to you in this moment, BYU is up 17-14 against Utah at home. Interesting that they're both wearing their colors. Utah in all red, BYU in all blue. You don't see that too often. Usually someone wears a white shirt at some point in all of this. But yes, we've got 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I already gave the score, but with BYU up by 3, Utah with the ball, this is obviously going to come down to a photo finish, much like the Texas Tech game. And with that, I think I've rambled enough. I'm just going to sign off for a sec and then let Spencer join back on. Hang tight, those of you watching. We will be back.
All right. I'm back.
Okay.
I hate this.
Me too. Let's keep going.
It's us. We're not locked in today. It's on us, guys. I went to the beach today. Wasn't ready for the game. Michael went to a play. We will be better. We will be more locked in starting next week.
I'll actually be at the game next week. Can't be much more locked in than that. So,
Yeah.
Spencer,
So-
did you, I know that you'll probably cut out what I said to the folks listening live, but I was able to, I had a heck of a day, busy day out at Burl Huffman. We had a basketball game this morning. We had a birthday party at 12:30. We had a soccer game at 4:30. We had a play at 7:30. This is insane. So, I'm coming at this 3 hours later, which is probably good. But I did get to watch the first and fourth quarter. I listened to the second and third best I could while supporting the Queen Bees, who went 8-0 today against the second place team. It was a no-doubter.
Yes, sir.
The other coach got a yellow card. I'm not really sure why. I think there was offsides at one point, but it was 6-0. So kind of let it go, coach. But we are without an offense. That's the gist. That's the gist that I get, Spencer, is that we have defense and will travel. Our defense allowed 2 touchdowns today. Only 2. I'll take it. Got to the quarterback. Sacked him a couple times, even though he was hobbled. I would have liked to have seen that a little bit more. Got some pressures, got some TFLs, but I mean, what was going on with the offense today? 27 rush attempts, averaging 4 yards per carry, but just kind of giving up on it. Is what happened? Our running backs got 11 carries. What were we doing?
I see Stat Broadcast has running backs at 12 carries. Hammond had 15. So if you look at those numbers, 27 versus 22 pass attempts, not pass attempts. Those were receptions. You had 38 pass attempts. Which tells me the game was obviously shortened, right? Like, especially there in the second half, you didn't have the ball much. And I remember I made a mental note of this. The color guy in the broadcast said, "Well, Arizona State just bled off half of the third quarter there." I was like, "Well, it's 2 teams, you know. If they each had the ball for half of the quarter, that means nothing." But I think what he meant was they had a drive that took up about 8 minutes or whatever it was, and it was that was definitely different. Yeah, I don't know. I think what was happening is early on you tried to get into your running game and you were not finding any space. You were not breaking tackles. You were not getting away. You were not getting the edge that you had done the previous 6 weeks. And I don't know if it was let's try to find something else that was working. If it was the offensive coordinator or the quarterback changing plays and style there at the line. Because we'll never really know what was called versus what was run. And you'll never get a coordinator that will really like go play by play and say, yeah, that's not what I called. Or I wouldn't expect Leftwich to throw Hammond under the bus if like, actually I called a perfect game and Hammond's up there screwing everything up. I don't know. I wonder why Jacoby Williams only had 3 carries when he was averaging 7.5 yards a carry.
He had a great punt return, right? Or kickoff return?
One of the two. It was a kickoff return.
Yeah, it was kickoff return. That's right.
Yeah, and he also had one catch for 8 yards. So like, offensively, he touched the ball. He was getting you 8 yards. I think I don't know. It's difficult to pinpoint where even I would want to start, because early on, your drives were halted or killed by negative plays or penalties, and every drive you had a penalty or a really big negative play that like instantly sapped that drive, and then you punted 1, 2, 3 plays later. Let me see, drives. You punted the first 4 drives. The next drive, the fifth drive, it ended on a turnover on downs. You took over the ball when you held Arizona State to a turnover on downs, but then you went 5 plays, 45 yards for a touchdown there. Your first score there came 5:57 left in the first half. I mean, obviously you were you traded punts there the first 3 possessions until Arizona State, their third drive, they went 9 plays, 62 yards, and kicked a field goal. You followed up with a 3 and out of your own. They kicked another field goal. You turned it over on downs. Like, you just never really you never really got going. Offense and defense, even special teams early on in the game was really holding it back. It was atrocious. And it was, in fact, special teams there that got you back into it late. You had a big, well, you had a big kick return that didn't end up in points. Then you had a punt return that sets you up for points. You had a block or a partial block. And I was telling my wife's family while we're watching the game, like, we're going to need the special teams to start something. And you needed that. I know. I mean, it was bad. Offense, defense, and special teams, especially special teams early. Defense, like, you can kind of, I don't know. Like, I was as frustrated watching the defense today as I was like the offense. I guess I had some benefit of the doubt knowing that it was Will Hammond for the offense. But watching Arizona State do what they wanted to do for a while, I mean, you did hold them to field goals on 1, 2, 3, 4 of their first 5 scoring drives, which ultimately kept you in the game. And had any of those turned into touchdowns, any more of those, like, it would have been over much sooner. Like, you wouldn't have had a shot to get back in this the way that you did. But also, like, there were times when, like, Jalen Tyson would just find himself completely wide open. And for the legitimately only offensive threat on the field to be left alone is mind-boggling. They couldn't run the ball till late. Your pass rush versus 3/5 of an Arizona State offensive line was horrendous late, or through most of the game. You had 4 sacks. I think 3 of them came in the first quarter. Let's pull this. I don't know if it's going to do chronologically. Yeah, you had 4 sacks on the day. David Bailey had 2 of them, and he had them on back-to-back plays on, I believe, the first or second drive. And then it was 2 more sacks the rest of the game. What I did see a lot of was you running right past a quarterback who was hobbled and yet still outrunning your defense. So maybe he wasn't as hobbled as you know, you would think. your pass defense, which we've seen get picked on, completely fall apart at times today. Especially Brennan Jordan. We knew that you were going to try to get Pollock on Tyson for most of the matchups, and I would say Tyson won the majority of those. He finished, what do you say, 10 catches, 105 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, you held him to his average, actually under his average in yards per catch. He had 10.5 yards per catch. I think he was averaging 11 this season. So like not entirely explosive. And of course, you had the one there that set up their last touchdown. That was 30 something yards on a 4th and 2. So yeah, I you could take your pick on what you want to point the finger at. I know you were talking about the running game when I started this. You allowed Sam Levitt to complete 28 of his passes for 320 yards and a touchdown. You held them on the ground to 2.1 yards per carry, 75 yards on 36 attempts. But you got beat through the air when they needed it. You had a lot of unlucky bounces go their way. You had you dropped an interception there on an early drive that ended up in a Arizona State field goal. You had a possible interception, just absolutely blow off the face mask of Brennan Jordan. No, Bryce Pollock, I think. It doesn't matter. It hit him right in the face, and he didn't see it coming. He was facing the sun. You had you threw an interception that was not a great throw, but your tight end had the ball, and then he was hit so hard he let go of it and tipped it up into the air. You knocked out at least 2 fumbles that I can remember, and Arizona State was able to recover both of them. So it's like they threw the ball twice, you forced 2 fumbles, and you ended up forcing 0 turnovers on the day. You had a couple of egregious penalties that weren't properly officiated. The long play that set up, I think, their first touchdown, their receiver was offsides. That should have been a dead ball. The Tyson touchdown was a textbook pick play, offensive pass interference, uncalled. I mean, you could look at so many different things. What I think, I don't want people to hear me say all those things and say like, "Oh, I'm just making excuses." You didn't show up. It didn't look like you showed up ready to play. We've seen Will Hammond and this offense kind of settle into a groove after a drive or two once he gets thrust into a game after, Morton goes down. You had all week to prepare for this, and he was not ready. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. The receiver, he and the receivers were not on the same page. He's throwing behind guys over him. Then, maddeningly, when he did hit him in the hands, they were dropping him. There's just so much to point to that, like, you did it to yourself. You did nothing to keep Arizona State from doing what they did to you. I mean, you just got beat all the way around. And if it makes you feel better, Texas Tech fans, to be like, hey, like, all of this happened and it took a final drive under 2 minutes for them to beat you by 4 with their starting quarterback versus your backup, for it to be a Super Bowl victory for them to have the post game shenanigans that they had. Um, I mean, you could try to look at that. What I see when I look at that is players and coaches on your side that lost their temper that may have some post game discipline actions coming down against you. Um, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, Michael, but there
I
was
didn't. I didn't. I was about to ask because I the second the game went off, or the second the clock went to 0, I turned off the TV and took a shower, and then we went to that play. So I
yeah. So you had a
I
position.
missed all of that.
Yeah, you had a position coach um, in a verbal altercation with fans that were on the field. You had a player of said position coach shove a fan. Um, so like you very much felt like they were baiting you to do it because there were so many people around them with cameras and they were like cheering the fact that when the guy got shoved, they had like, oh, I got you on camera. Um, you have to. I mean, I don't know if I doubt I would have been able to do any different or any better, but you have to maintain better composure there from a senior in that position. It's not the first time he's lost a game. Um. Anyways, it just looked like for whatever reason, you weren't ready. You were out coached. Um, you had very poor execution all the way around. Even the things that went well, you can kind of pick apart and say like that really wasn't. I mean, when you have that big return down to the 12-yard line, 2 minutes to go, and you are down, what was it? Down 5. You can't really say like you should have done X, Y, and Z to take more time off the clock because your red zone offense again had been absolutely atrocious. But like hindsight here, and of course that's all we have. Like I would have loved had you scored after the 2-minute timeout. I mean, you left so much time for Arizona State to go on the drive they did. I think a lot of Tech fans probably saw that coming.
Yep.
That last drive meltdown
Yep.
in context of this season, uh, it's just astonishing that was the meltdown. You look at last week, there was a comment made to or a question addressed to Coach Wood about like, hey, Kansas was able to essentially dink and dunk you down the field. Does that bother you? Is that not bothered at all? And guess what? They dink and dunked on that last drive, except for the 4th down, all the way into the end zone. You sat back and you played your version of a soft prevent defense. You weren't getting any pressure. You weren't having any kind of containment. That 4th and 2, you let Levitt roll out to the right, and he found Tyson, who then ran for 25 yards or whatever after the catch. So yeah, I don't know. Where do you want to start, man? What caught your eye?
Start? What the hell are you talking about? Start?
Well, sorry. It's been like 15 minutes of me. Or 20 minutes, 30 minutes of me blabbering about this. Where do you want to take it?
I think I sent the same text to my buddy the Ace Man when Texas Tech had the ball with 2 minutes in the red zone and immediately scored. I did kind of bemoan that a little bit, wishing they would have at least run the ball a couple times or something. Obviously, they needed to get into the end zone at that point, but I didn't like where it was headed. It just felt the same way. I felt it then. I can point to the text where I sent it because It was not hindsight for me. It was in the moment. This is how this is going to end. It didn't feel that way. It felt like, oh, I'm going to be wrong. This is great. When Leave It lines up and the shotgun on 4th and 2, you think, oh man, we've got a shot here. We got a chance to stop these guys. But then, of course, somehow Jordan Tyson gets wide open again for the 10th time of the day. I I don't know. Was this guy not scouted? Have they not heard of him? Does number 0 just not warrant any sort of coverage? That was insane. All day, just finding him over and over and over. That was crushing. The penalties, I mean, there were some, but and this is something we talked about before, the number of penalties were low. I think there were only 5. But the timing, my goodness. The only 2 false starts were on 3rd downs.
3rd and short,
Just-
3rd and 2, 3rd
yeah.
and 1.
And I think in the red zone, or maybe not in the red zone, but at least on Arizona State side of the field. I'm not sure how well the defense did. I mean, it seems like Rodriguez wasn't as effective as he normally is. I mean, he still had a pass breakup. He still had a TFL. He still had 12 tackles, but
He had 2 forced fumbles, but they just weren't recovered.
we just weren't able to get the ball to bounce our way. There was a graphic that came up in the 4th quarter that you probably saw too. That just showed all the miscues that Texas Tech had gone through with throughout the day that you've already mentioned pretty much, and including the block punt. And I had missed the block punt somehow. That was I'm kind of glad I missed it, but somehow throughout me trying to follow the game in various places, I did not hear that one.
It wasn't like yes, it was blocked, but it wasn't like it went behind the punter. It still went downfield. It was a very short punt, but yes, it was blocked, and it just it wasn't like a huge momentum swinging where it was I don't know, I think a blocked punt, and I think of somebody picking it up and trying to return it. No, you still got the ball downfield, but they got a hand on it, and it was probably 20 yards or whatever.
I think one of the things that's telling the most, with as much as I started off kind of talking about how well the defense did, the defense allowed 319 passing yards to a team that only allows only throws 194 per game.
Yeah.
And Texas Tech usually allows conveniently 194 a game, but that goes with our theory that we've had, and I'm sure a lot of you have too. If you're not getting to the quarterback, or if you play a quarterback that's good, who has a receiver that you absolutely cannot cover, you're going to have a rough day. And this is where that came to a head. I just flummoxed that Jordan Tyson had 10 catches. He had 17 targets. Leave It threw the ball 47 times. 17 times he threw to the same guy. I think that's where he likes to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the coverage was lacking. So I had a feeling that was going to come at some point. I was hoping it wouldn't be this week because I didn't know if Leave It would play. And if he did, if he would be limited. He didn't appear to be limited. It seems like they didn't really run him much until the second half. So who knows how much gamesmanship that was, or if it was truly something that they weren't sure. They hadn't figured out. I think Dillingham said something like, well, if Leave It's in, he's 100%. I think he said something like that prior to the game, which, sure, McGuire would probably say the same thing about somebody, but this did not feel like a number 7 team in the country today.
Mm-mm.
I know some of it was going on the road with a backup quarterback, getting his first start, all that kind of stuff, sure. But there were just so many facets of the game that you've pointed out that fell apart around him. And not that he played well, but they played well enough in the 4th quarter to win the game. They just fell short. They fell short the rest of the day. And so you can't wake up in the fourth quarter and expect to walk out with a win.
Yeah, your second and third offensive drives here. So your second touchdown there, you took the ball over 7:21. You're down 19-7. You're down 12. You have 7.5 minutes left in the game. You run 11 plays and take off 3.5 minutes. So by the time you scored, there was 3.5 minutes left, essentially. Like you moved, you only covered 48 yards, but it took you almost 4 minutes to do it. Like you were finally finding success. And even that was like, you didn't do it fast enough. There was not enough urgency there. You were gifted a great defensive hold stand, on the next drive. You got a punt back, and then you had the return down to the 12, and then you scored on one play after that to put you ahead with a 2-point conversion. So then it like on the flip side, then you left too much time. So I'm just complaining because whatever you did was going to be wrong, essentially. But yeah, it's frustrating that you were beat so soundly for this game, and then for like a brief moment, you took the lead, and you're like, we just need our defense to do what it does, and we've got we escape. Like, oh my gosh, like you fought, you battled, you've so much to build off of and learn from, and just get better from. But you escaped with the win. But no, your defense then crumbled. And I mean, can you blame them, Michael? They were on the field 37 minutes of game time.
I don't think I can.
Let's see. 21 minutes in the second half alone. They had a time of possession advantage 21-9.
So, I mean, I don't think I can blame a defense that stopped Arizona State on the 17-yard line and allowed a field goal, on the 29 field goal, on the 9 field goal, on the 11 field goal. I don't think I can fault a defense that was able to have that kind of run and produce that type of the type of stopping power in the red zone. Not all of it was red zone. Sure, the 29 technically not, but I do think just the way this game was played, the way it felt. Arizona State came back with 3 timeouts left to go 75 yards. It seemed pretty likely that was going to happen. And I would have felt the same way with Tech coming out. Even though Tech had not done well, if they were down 4 and needed to get or down 3, actually Arizona State was only down 3. They just needed to get into plausible field goal range, but then, well, why not? Just let's try to walk this off, basically. I felt like Tech would have had that type of chance too in that type of crunch situation. I don't know why. Even after what I saw earlier in the majority of the 3 quarters beforehand, I still think they would have had that shot. And so I'm not necessarily pinning it on the defense. I think the offense showed, Arizona State's offense showed that they could get hot at the right time. They've showed that all year. They've showed that the last 2 years. I know there's a guy on the New York Giants right now who's was a big part of that, but that's a team that can get it done, even against a really good defense like Texas Tech's. But as you mentioned, against a really good defense that has been out on the field for the majority of the game.
Yeah, they got worn down in the third quarter. And
It-
it had
They're
been,
depleted too.
yeah, and they were without one of their starters, and they were like weren't there was no complementary football today. There wasn't like the offense was doing something and allowing the defense to rest. I'll point to the third quarter, Michael, and because this is just where the time of possession disparity is just unreal. Arizona State had the ball for 13 minutes and 14 seconds of a 15-minute period. Like, you had the ball for a minute 45. So by the time we even got to the fourth quarter, it's a miracle they were like, you weren't just rolling out like just bodies, just zombies out there. The fact that you got a sack in the third and fourth quarter, that you were able to get a fourth quarter stop to put you in a position to even take a lead is almost, unbelievable. So like, yeah, I have a hard time like being super, well, as I'm going through this, I'm having a hard time saying, man, I wish the defense X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Because to your point, they stopped this Arizona State offense and held them to 4 field goals. You said 3 of those 4 were in the red zone, if not all
Yep.
4.
And
So,
one was at the 29, so pretty darn
yeah.
close.
So,
Are we
yeah.
BYU fans now? Is this the plan? Because it's
I think we
going
have
well.
to be. I think we have to be Utah fans. I think we need
Well, that's not going well.
I think we need BYU to lose, to get another conference loss up there, and then you'd hold tiebreaker against obviously Utah, and then you go head to head with BYU.
BYU is up by 10, but Utah is driving right now. There's a minute 51 left in the game. And Fox has that thing where the timeouts are all black. So I don't know if that means each team still somehow has all 3 timeouts or they have 0. I think it means they have 0 because I bet someone would be taking one right now. Anyway, 3rd and 1 from the 5, and Dampier got bailed out by a PI call in the end zone.
We know how that
Good for
works
them,
out.
but they're still down by 10. Yeah,
And
that was a familiar feeling.
roughing the passer on 4th and goal.
I know. I didn't see that. I only heard about it.
The initial look at it, you're like, man, that was awfully soft because they cut away from it pretty quick. It was David Bailey. He made contact with Levitt as he was letting the ball go, but then he took a couple of steps and then drove him into the ground. It's like, yeah, you probably could have.
Come on, man.
Could have. And that was after the it was right around the same, like the next play you forced a fumble, but they recovered it there on the goal line. So anyways.
Touchdown Utes. Utes have cut it to 4. PAT pending. Minute and 24 left. So why are we rooting for the Utes? What is it? I don't understand. Is it because we've beaten them?
Yeah, and we need BYU.
So that would
to
give
lose.
us a 1-up. Okay. Well, BYU, they got a chance to lose in 2 weeks. Or in 15 minutes. I don't know. Whatever happens first.
So yeah, let's I don't know. I'm so irritated with how this whole thing happened, man, because I was not expecting you to look as poor as you did. And then of course you were in a position to win it. And something you've seen happen before, but not this year. And I think the other thing that I'm also really irritated with is and I get it, it comes from being the hunted, is just knowing there are so many people satisfied that you lost tonight, and like, yep, they're going to be pointing fingers and saying that's what happens when X, Y, and Z. Or you can't expect Texas Tech to do great good things when they've never done it before. Or oh, yep, see, I told you so.
Yeah, that's fine. Target on our back. We got to accept that. That comes with the territory now.
Because obviously when you have a field storming happen and the coach gets not carried away but pulled away from his mid interview after the game, and then it's all the things, it's a mess. And I hate that, like, the things that we had identified like as problem areas. Like, I don't know why, like, I would feel any differently about it, but like knowing that the red zone offense was iffy. You've had issues with drops, with very poorly timed penalties, with your pass defense getting torched every now and then, um, still having struggles containing a mobile quarterback. Like, check, 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 check. All these things popped up today. And you did it, and still we're in a position to win this game on the road against the defending conference champions with your backup quarterback who played like absolute dog crap all day. Well, excuse me. There was a lot left to be desired from the offense. I don't want to like just put this all on Hammond. I mean, shoot, that fourth down and we run a speed option. We pitch the ball backwards when Koyakin is legitimately jumping up and down saying like, I'm uncovered here for 15 yards. Like, it's 4th and 8. Like, I've got this. Throw it to me. And we run a speed option to the short side of the field. Yeah, it makes no sense. So let's go through some comments, and then we'll look around the rest of the Big 12 and catch see how BYU and Utah is wrapping up. Cross Timbers Red Raider said instant reaction is going about like the game. Let's hope for a strong finish. Yeah, that's when we were having some issues, as we do every week. I mean, real ones know this hiccup happens every week. I don't know what I can do differently.
It's not a bit.
No,
but it feels like one.
It's not a bit. We don't do bits here, but that one definitely would not be a bit. Cross Timbers Raider also says should have been only one if not for the roughing the passer. I assume he's talking about defensive touchdowns surrendered. Because yeah, you had a drive sustaining 4th down roughing the passer, and it was the right call, but yeah. And then they also said he came up lame and limped off the field after a return. I'm not sure who they're talking
Jacoby,
about.
maybe?
Probably. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Relic says offensive play calling was terrible. The scheme was bad. Abandoned it after we fell behind 3-0. We fundamentally changed the offensive scheme to match too much with Will. I think what we've seen them do is institute a lot more quarterback run. It felt like we did that a couple of plays early on. It was unsuccessful, and then we're just like, well, we're not going to do that again. Which I can kind of get because you're rolling with a backup quarterback at this point, and you're one play away from playing Mitch Griffiths, and that's not a position you want to be in. Or saying, hey, Perrin Morton, let's go put the pads on. Let's put you back out there because our offensive coordinator called a lot of quarterback run with our backup without anybody else healthy around him. Offense looked lost at times. Receivers never got separation for some reason. Still don't know why we panicked and went away so early from the run. Yeah, all valid points. You weren't getting separation. And then you weren't catching. You had some issues with drops, with the passes being off target. They were really good. Arizona State defense was really good at open field tackling. So when you got the ball, you just never got space. And either they tackled you or they held you up long enough for a crowd to get there, which we've obviously been the beneficiaries of before as a Texas defense that have been torched by poor tackling. If you can just hold them up long enough for more people to show up, do it. I'm
Yeah.
not saying Arizona State was a poor tackling team. Obviously, very, very, very good today. D. Wayne says 4th and 2 with 1 minute left. If we get a stop, we win. Instead, they get a 40-yard pass. Typical Tech. I'm so sad. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not leaving this all on the defense, but you get a stop there, turnover and downs. You get the ball, a minute to go, up by 3. The game ends. Even after that play, like, okay, well, now they're if your defense does everything it's supposed to, then they get a field goal here and tie it. That play legitimately changed the outcome of the game without it actually being a score as clock hit 0. Chase says, no, we need BYU to win, and then we beat Utah. Yeah, we already beat Utah, so we would need that, again, the tiebreaker situation. We need BYU to win, Utah to beat Cincy, and BYU to beat Cincy. We beat BYU, went out, then it's Tech in Arlington. Yeah, I'd seen some people talk about the control your own destiny. And I think what I remember already is at week 8 with 1 loss, you need other people's help. Like that's how narrow margin it is. And I think that's why a lot of people are so uncomfortable with thought like oh, it's just one game, it just one conference game. It's going to be competitive. There's nobody else out there that no, like 1 loss here, and you're like, well, there are a lot of people around you now that are in a position to take your spot or to compete and make this much more difficult than it has to be because you didn't take care of business when you should have. Let's see, Cross Timber Red Raider comes back. Does Cody then go and buy a new staff?
Well, he
Oh, sorry.
started out with
I'm going back. What happens if the 3-way tie for a championship game and we miss out on due to head-to-head? I think we need to worry about an offensive line, which is ironically what started this whole transfer portal buy-up program. Was after the Colorado game, somebody said, "Go buy us an O-line." He said, "I will." And then you did get some transfers on the offensive line, but there are still holes there, and frustrating. Your biggest get there is the one that is hurting you the most in terms of like very poorly timed penalties or issues in the red zone. The amount of UHKU Baylor fans celebrating outnumbers Arizona State fans. It's obnoxious. Yeah, I agree. D. Wayne says, why didn't the OC let Hammond throw over the middle of the field during the first half? All we needed was a few simple slants to get him going. You'd have to ask him. I don't know. There were some issues when he threw across the middle. He was late, and that's when one of the interceptions came. And the interception game. The issues.
Sorry, I wanted to ask you because I didn't get to see it. Have you heard anything about Terrence Carter Jr.?
Not officially, no. I know he went down on a play where very similar to the interception that was targeted to John Carlos Miller. Ball was behind him. Looked like he may have tweaked a knee. Got up, took a few steps, and went down. And they brought the cart out. So I've not heard officially. No, I just know that it was not good, and that was after he had spent some time on the sideline already.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And his role had been limited. It felt like the past couple of weeks with injuries and battling back, and now to lose him at what I assume would be an extended period of time is less than ideal. Obviously, lots of teams deal with injuries and impact players, but You had kind of
Chase-
seen his role within the offense diminish the past few weeks, and you can definitely feel it at times.
Chase followed that up and said that that Joey mentioned in the presser that it was an ankle injury.
I wonder if it's like a
we'll
high
see
ankle
what that
sprain or
means.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, getting carted off for an ankle injury is pretty severe, I would think.
Hey, it's what happened with Skylar Gill Howard last week. So
That's true.
who had surgery. So
Right after we recorded, he had surgery.
Yeah, and it's those. I get that like things happen and situations progress, but it now feels disingenuous to be like, oh, you know, Baron Morton, he sustained this injury before. He's actually doing much better this time than he did last time. But then didn't play this week. Where last time this happened, it was much more serious, but he did play the next week. And then all the reports being so positive with Skylar Howard, he almost goes back in the game to then has surgery and is likely out the rest of the regular season. It's like, well, these are not what we were told. And again, like I don't know if I'm demanding like full transparency here, but it's like, I mean, if he's out, he's out. Just like there's so little gamesmanship here that you gain anything from saying, oh yeah, our defensive tackle, he's day to day, he's fine. Oh, actually on the sideline he had surgery, or on the side he had surgery, and the injury here with Baron Morton, it's nothing, it's nothing. He's fine. It's a pain tolerance thing, and then like, oh, he's available only in the instance of an emergency. Okay, well that's not the pain tolerance thing. It's, I don't know. I was internally irritated by that. MD Wilson, the issues that we all knew Tech had, Arizona State exposed. They needed the win today to keep their season alive. Well, you needed the win today to do what you want to do and go where you haven't gone before. And you led a team that was, I don't know, they wanted it more. So you're now with your not like backs against the wall, but like you're in a much different position than you were 12 hours ago, and you have a chance to respond. So let's see what this coaching staff does in this instance. You had thought you were going to be prepared coming into this type of game. You had, you would acknowledge that you had a target on your back and that you had a chance to take down the defending conference champion. And if you want to go play for a conference championship, this is what you have to do. And you just didn't do it today. He also says it was an off game and the intangibles went Arizona State's way today. We didn't look sharp on any side consistently. Agreed. Dwayne, I couldn't believe how many fumbles the ASU had and the ball just bounced back to them. Yeah, that's
kind of when you know. That's when you know if your opponent gets the ball back with 2 minutes left and all their timeouts that they're probably going to score. It's just the kind of day it's going to be.
Arizona State only has Houston at Iowa State, West Virginia at Colorado, and Arizona. They could easily be 8-1. We need help from everyone else. Going back to the conference tiebreaker conversation. One loss on the road with a backup QB could leave us 11-1 watching Arizona State and Cincinnati and Arlington. Yeah, it's possible. Ankle is what Joey said in the presser. He was on the sideline in a boot and street clothes afterwards. I did see him on the sideline. And then, for whatever reason, Chase brings up LSU's official best win is either 3-4 Clemson or 3-4 South Carolina.
Did LSU win today? They were playing
no,
Vandy, right?
They lost.
Okay. So. Speaking of whoever they are, let me pull up the Big 12 scores. So, starting off our day today on an 11 a.m. kick that didn't finish till like 5 o'clock because of a rain delay. TCU won at home versus Baylor 42-36. Houston in a back and forth game that I wish I'd gotten to see a little bit more of that looked pretty entertaining. Houston took care of Arizona at home, 31-28. Houston is what are they? 4-1 in Big 12 right now? Yeah.
3-1.
3-1. Okay. Golly, I sound like, hey, just got in from the turnip truck, but golly, UCF beat the crap out of West Virginia. I did not really expect that. I think the line was something like West Virginia plus 7.5, something along those lines. UCF took them to church, 45-13 at home in Orlando, and then poor Oklahoma State. You and I kind of talked about Cincinnati's big line of it was 21.5, I think, when we recorded, and I think it closed at 23.5. Spoiler, Cincinnati covered easily 49-17 in Stillwater.
They had 21-point quarters in the second and fourth.
So, not to make light of that, because the team we just lost to on the road got beat 42-10 the week before. So, yeah, Oklahoma State just got beat 49-17. It's a whole different thing. But be prepared for Oklahoma State coming to Lubbock, just always. And then Utah and BYU did go final. Utah was driving. They did score to get the game within 3. Attempted an onside kick, but one of their players touched it first. So BYU was able to run out the clock in victory formation and win 24-21.
There you go. It's not the result we needed.
What, or was it?
Or was it? I mean, you have your own schedule to contend with. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this one up, Michael? Anything else?
My preseason me had this as a loss. Had this as our first loss. I kind of quit listening to preseason me, and I still am surprised that this happened. Even with Hammond going in, I just still felt like Tech had the better chance, the better team, and I knew that Arizona State had a lot of guys out, or a lot of guys injured or banged up, that I felt like Tech would be able to take advantage of, but not the case today. So preseason me was right, but current me was wrong and is sad. And that's it. That's all I've got.
What was their third down percentage today, Michael?
Oh, hang on. I've still got it pulled up. Texas Tech's third down percentage today, they were 6 of 16 on third down. So that is a 37.5%. They also went 1 of 3 on fourth down. So if you combine that, that's 7 of 19. It's about the same, 37%.
So on the season before this game, Texas Tech was converting 52.2% of those.
That hurts.
Arizona State on third down, only converting 32% of their third downs. And they went what today?
43. I mean, not a whopping jump, but 9 of 21 was where they were on third down today.
The Arizona State offense, 91st in the country in scoring trips into the red zone at 80%.
100% today.
Texas Tech red zone defense was 19th and allowing only 73%.
Of that 100%, 3 of them were field goals, and one of them was that drive that we just all knew was coming.
So, all right. That'll do for us here on the 23 Personnel Podcast. This one sucked all the way around. We'll be back on Tuesday to get you ready for hopefully a get right game. Otherwise, it's a fireable offense if you lose that one. Texas Tech drops this one on the road 26-22 to Arizona State. We'll be back on Tuesday. For Michael, I'm Spencer. Catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.